Good morning, good morning. Stock we're going to talk about today is BIMI. It is October 19th, 2020. Everything looked beautiful on BIMI. Market cap 20.51 million shares. Market cap 21.51 million. Float is 4.62 million. It was rotating the float. But again, discipline to stick to the plan. And that's the whole point of me making these videos, is to eliminate mistakes and eliminate the mistakes by understanding where did I make my mistake. And today I made two mistakes. As you can see, I'm minus 9% today. That's trading twice today. First time was buying pre-market, and I normally am no good at pre-market. So why am I buying pre-market? Because normally pre-market does not work for me personally. But I did stick to the plan, which was buying the pre-market breakout. So I bought the break here in the right here at 127, and I purchased it at 427, the break of 427 high of the pre-market. It was having a nice, beautiful, gradual climb. It rotated twice already, the float, and I purchased it in this candle as it broke. It got up to 444. So I was up about 3.8% profit at that point, and then it just started fizzing out. And then for some reason, it's happened to me a couple times. When I clicked the sell the button, it didn't go through. Like, I clicked it, but it didn't actually go through to execute. And I clicked it when I was down minus 2.4%, and then it kept going. And then I was like, what the heck? And I clicked it again, and I got out at minus 3.4% originally. So first of all, wait for the market open to buy the pre-market breakout. So that's the one thing. Even though I did buy the break of the high of the pre-market at the time, I've noticed that I don't really have much success pre-market. And this was more, again, an impulse buy and trying to be greedy, man. Basically, is just trying to be greedy. Like, okay, let me try to get in this early, because it was 6 o'clock, 6:04 when I entered. Market doesn't open for another 26 minutes. So let me see if I could get a little head start on here. But that's not part of my plan. That's not part of my strategy. So it was more of greed that made me take that trade. And it winded up costing me minus 3.4%. And then when the market actually did open, which was just stupid, again, trying to chase and be greedy, it's all about eliminating these mistakes, being aware of the way I'm thinking when I'm entering a trade, because it takes away all the hard work I've been doing. When I stick to the plan, I've been doing just fine, but it's every time I deviate from the plan is what costs me big, and it cost me big today with a minus 9%. So I took a minus 3.4%, which isn't too bad, because I want to stay with that minus 2, minus 3 range. But then here I go. I take about a 5.8% loss on the second one, because it's 9.2, so 3.4. So about a 5.8% loss on the second trade. And that came because when the market opened at 373 and had an instant pop to 393. So a 20-cent pop in less than a minute. And I felt like it was just going to squeeze, which it did technically squeeze up to 410, but it had already dropped too far for me to hold, because I entered at 388, trying to capture that squeeze, and it just tanked on me. which was a stupid move because again, it was greed that led me to take this trade. When really I should have been buying if it broke the 444, and as of right now, it's not looking like it's going to break the 444. So again, eliminate mistakes. This would have been a good one. I also had this on watch, which would have been a nice pre-market morning spike reversal. As you see, straight spike, pulls back, makes a top, pulls back, and then breaks it here. But I eliminated that from what I like to trade because of. But man, that was pretty much almost $1 squeeze, which would have been nice. But anyway, so yeah, so two mistakes. One, don't trade pre-market. It's not part of your strategy. It's not part of your plan. Just wait for market open to buy the breakout and buy the high. Second mistake was trying to anticipate this squeeze before it even breaks your entry point. So I'm just impulsively buying this because of greed. It's the fear of missing. I need to eliminate that out of my mind of, oh, if it squeezed, from here, open at 374 and squeezed up to the high again, that's a 70-cent move. And, so for me on 225 shares, that's over a 14% move. And then it would go through. So, it's the greed of wanting to collect that extra 14% before it even breaks my entry level. So that was a horrible, horrible entry. The entry here was okay, but just the fact that it was pre-market, it was a good entry if it was regular hours, but it was pre-market, and knowing that pre-market doesn't necessarily have the strength as market open, because as you can see, here's the volume pre-market, here's the volume, and then see, market opens, and look how much higher the volume is at market open. So pre-market doesn't necessarily have the strength as regular market hours does. Just simple mistakes like that are what cause traders to go in downward spirals, because I even wrote it down and I did not stick to it. So the first one I wrote is, doesn't meet my criteria of 20 in the 20s or less in float, 20 millions or less in float. Yes, it did. Did the flow rotate? Yes, it did. It rotated at 3 times. And typically, if I have a market cap under 50 million and I have a float under 20 million and it's rotating 3 times, the odds go into my favor. But when it breaks, and it did not break, this very well could come back and break later on in the day. But again, I already executed 2 trades, so I'm done for the day. I'm not executing no more than 2 trades. So everything, so is the flow under 20 million? Yes. Did the flow rotate? Yes. Is it a pre-market or intraday breakout at my purchase point? No, I did not buy here. Yes, of course, it was a pre-market breakout because I was buying it pre-market, which is not part of my strategy. So I'm gonna have to eliminate that. No more buying pre-market. And then here, I just completely just tried to chase a move again without even nowhere near my entry point of purchase. So completely no, that rule. Did I stick to 2 trades a day? Yes, I did. I'm done for the day. Did I cut my loss at minus 3% or, no more than 3%? And no, I did not. Yes, the first one, I hit the button at minus 2.4, but it didn't execute me till minus 3.4. So that one, yes, but the second one was just a completely impulsive trade, and it was just horrible on my part. So that one, no, that was minus 5.8% that I took that loss on. And did I wait for the second candle after the break? No, I did not. So still in the works of working out the kinks of my mistakes. Still very close. Like I'm getting close to the disciplines necessary for my particular strategy, because it's always something. So last week it was I didn't stick to the float. And And then today, now it's solidified in my mind to stick to the float. And I stuck to that, but I didn't stick to the actual breakout. The pre-market or intraday break, I tried to chase it right at the market open, thinking it was just going to push because the candle looked so strong. I was thinking it was just going to push back up to here, and it didn't, and it costed me for not following my rules. And that's the hardest part of trading, is following your own personal rules, in trading like a robot, literally trading like a robot and sticking to the discipline of your rules. So it's just a matter of critiquing mine and understanding where I'm showing weakness. And so far, my showing weakness is when I'm, trying to chase, fear of missing a move, and impulsively buying it, thinking I could capture some extra percentage when there's no need to do that, because when I try to do that, that's when it costs me. And when I actually just stick to my plan and stick to my trades, I wind up, the odds are in my favor, and I'm at a 50% win rate when I stick to that, and I'm green. So it's every time I deviate from that is when I'm not green. So it's a matter of just discipline, sticking to the plan. And here, I did not stick to the plan today, and it cost me minus 9.2%. And that's what happens when you don't stick to your plan. This could very well come back and reverse and break. It could very well do so. But I'm done, because the plan is no more than 2 trades a day. So that way I'm not bleeding completely. And this minus 9.2 is way further than where I would like to be. So on the day, I mean, at max, minus 6 maybe at max. But minus 9.2 is no good for me at all. But BAIMI, it did meet all the criterias. Was a previous runner, as you can see here. Went from the 2s to the 5s, mid 2s to mid 5s, 100% move there. It did have a news catalyst. It's announced that revenue has increased by 1,000% over the same period of time last year. So a nice earnings winner. But the main move happened all in pre-market from from the 190s to the 440s, so over 100% move there. It still very well has the potential to come back and curl and squeeze over 444. And that's the patience that you have to wait with, and able to catch those moves, is just be patient. It's the eagerness that I have to trade that cost me this minus 9.2. The eagerness of trying to get in pre-market, then the eagerness of trying to get in right at market open, instead of allowing it to wait for my entry level, which is a pre-market breakout or an intraday high breakout. And I did neither, so I failed to execute my plan and impulsively bought and tried to chase it to get greedy, instead of just sticking to the plan. But other than that, typically these things with a 20 million market cap and a 4.62 million float, trading 16 million, 17 million shares rotated 3 times. Usually when I have these numbers and with the float rotation, it usually rewards me the majority of the time. But again, I did not execute this trade properly, and this very well could come back and squeeze and blow through the 440s and keep running. It could very well do that, and it could very well just die out if the shorts are in control. And I did realize it did have a pretty high short float, 13.82%. And I keep my eye on that as well, because out of the float, there's 13.82% of the float can actually be shorted. So you think about it, that's roughly about 500,000 shares that can be shorted. So a nice lesson learned there to, again, stick to my plan. Stick to your plan. So no pre-market trading and no impulsively buying, man. Just stick to the plan. Does it break? Then buy. If it doesn't break, don't buy. Okay, if it breaks, buy. If it doesn't break, don't buy. So you broke two rules, and I'm gonna have to find a way to discipline myself for breaking rules, to make sure that I stick to the plan and no longer break rules. And it's funny because these lessons really do help, because every time I break a rule, it winds up being a new rule that I break. Um, so it's just solidifying those to make sure that I don't. And that's what's great about these videos, is that it's allowing me to solidify, because these videos are keeping me accountable for, okay, why did I do this? What was the reason behind it? Understand it, and then eliminate the mistakes from my trading, and just stick to the actual plan and stick to the actual rules. And because if I'd have just stuck to the plan and stuck for the rules, I would be down nothing right now, and I would still have 2 trades to go, and I'd just be sitting on my hands waiting for this thing to break. And if it did it, then I would still be good, and maybe later on start looking for a different play. Just like this one. I mean, this one just had a beautiful pre-market break right now, over 408. And and that could have been a potential move. That one was traded. That was the one the other day that squeezed that I mentioned on the video, that I could have potentially had. K, what was it? K. Because this is another low floater. As you can see, $1 million float. 80 million market cap, and see it squeezed already before, the previous day that I seen from the 125s to the 450s, and it's now having a nice squeeze, from broke the 408, pulled back, had a big pullback, but now shooting back up in this 1 minute candle. In this 1 minute candle from the 360s to the 450s, so almost $1 in 1 minute. And that's the patience level that you have to have, in order to catch these, because these things can move. And I just allowed myself to not follow the plan, and it caused me a minus 9.2. So it's well deserved, because I did not follow the plan at all. And that's what I get for not following the plan. And now I'm watching a nice, pre-market breakout here, which went over 408 and topped so far at the, that's a 40-cent move on, roughly the same amount of shares. So that'd have been a nice 9% move right there, if I would have able to capture that correctly. I could have easily made my 4% in one candle in 1 minute. So, just a matter of sticking to the plan and disciplining myself to stick to the plan, lessons in discipline today. Discipline. Deviated from the plan, and it cost me minus 2%. So everything looked good on BIMI. Again, I allowed the chart pattern to influence my buy pre-market, because look at how beautiful this is looking. And then this is the candle I purchased when it broke the pre-market high here, and then got up to 4%. I was hoping to get somewhere around here, because that would have been a nice, 6% gain, and I would have took it. But it topped out at about 3.8% gain really fast, pulled back, and then that failed. But buying pre-market is not a strength of mine. And then just impulsively buying it at the open, hoping, just seeing a nice push, 20-cent push. I just reacted to that 20% push and bought it, which was stupid. A big mistake on my part. And look, this is KXIN, a low float runner, is now squeezed into the 5s. And I'm completely missing out on this move because I impulsively bought here. When this happened to be a beautiful pre-market break, as you can see, and it's running beautifully. But again, just allowing my thought process and the emotions take over my trading instead of just sticking to the plan. Because I could have easily entered this move because I would have still been sitting on my hands here. Nothing has happened here yet. Has not broke the 444. And here now I'm sitting on my hands because I took my 2 trades for the day, minus 9.2, and I'm watching another low float just run without me, when I could have easily entered in any one of these candles, and now it's having a major squeeze. So again, just understanding, stick to the plan, and you can be successful, because I would have been sitting on my hands right now, and I could have potentially captured this move over here because it's another low float runner and it's continuing to squeeze. And I'm just watching it squeeze without me because I impulsively purchased 2 times on BIMI. And this is a beautiful pre-market breakout, low float pre-market breakout. And I'm just allowing it to run without me because of my impulsive buys on BIMI and sticking to the plan. And this one's just looking like it's crapping out. So I could have just easily, okay, this is not showing any strength for me. Let me find one with strength. And I found one with strength right at the break in this candle. Had a pullback and then popped back up. Could have easily got in this candle when it re-broke here. And then look, had a major squeeze, and I would have been out in that candle for a nice 5 or 6% gain. Okay? So lesson of the day, it's a lesson in discipline and sticking to my plan and sticking to my rules. And I deviated from that today. And those are the lessons that are learned here, because it wasn't that my plan didn't go as planned. It was that I just didn't stick to my plan, and I didn't execute my plan the way I should have. And I just deviated completely from it. And now that cost me not only minus 9.2%, but that also cost me to miss a major squeeze right here where I could have easily profited, buying in the break. Even if I would have bought in the break here and took a loss here in this red, then I would have still had another shot at taking green with my second buy. But I already used both my trades, a minus 3.4 and a minus 5.8, and it costed me minus 9.2%. So, that's back-to-back days of not sticking to my rules and my plan, and not executing it the way I should this time, just impulsively buying it, which was stupid. So that's the lesson for today, man. A lesson in discipline, James. No pre-market buying, and making sure that it breaks pre-market or pre-market high, okay? Pre-market high or intraday high. If it's not breaking pre-market high and it's not breaking intraday high, you have no business buying it, okay? No business buying it if it's not pre-market high and if it's not intraday high. And I need to solidify all these because as I was waking up this morning, because of Friday's trade of purchasing the float of 150 million, I had it in my head. Make sure you're trading your low float. Make sure you're trading your low float. When I need to have it in my head, make sure I'm trading low float, but also make sure I'm buying pre-market breakout or intraday highs on the low floats. So that's re-solidified in my mind now because it just taught me a lesson in this trade, of a lesson in discipline, to stick to my breakout points, entry points. Stick to those, because I could have easily profited here. Because if I'd have stuck to them here, it would never broke, and this showed me weakness. And then I switch over here because this is showing strength. Okay? I caught the strength. I noticed it over here on the top 10% gainers. I seen the strength coming. And I completely missed it because I wasted my time, or I wasted my trades not following the plan on BIMI because I allowed this nice chart to influence me to purchase the first time. And then I allowed just a big push in the open in this one candle to influence me the second time when at least the first time I did stick to the plan, other than buying pre-market, because I don't buy pre-market, but everything else about that trade was fine. And then this was just complete impulse. And now I'm watching this beautiful KXIN run without me because of my pure ignorance of greed and not sticking to my plan. Okay? So BIMI minus 9.2% on the day. First trade was a minus 3.4. That was fine, other than just buying it pre-market, which is not good. And then the last trade was just completely impulsive, and I took a minus 5.8 for that impulsiveness of trying to be greedy and trying to get a head start before it even broke, way before it even broke. And it doesn't look like it's going to break because it continues to go in the opposite direction. And so now it's showing me so much weakness that it most likely will not break at all. And I'm watching this KXIN low flow runner just run without me because I did not stick to the plan at all here. And that costed me 2 trades, and it costed me minus 9.2% on the day. All right, so discipline, discipline, discipline. Stick to the fucking plan. When you stick to the plan, things go smooth. And I could have easily stuck to the plan and bought the pre-market breakout at KXIN, which is the one showing the strength, instead of just focusing on this one that is showing me nothing but weakness. So yeah, BIMI minus 9.2% on the day. A good lesson in discipline for me, to just stick to the fucking plan, James. I think that's going to be it for today. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Stick to that shit, man. Stick to fucking discipline. All right? Buy the breakouts only. Only breakouts. Pre-market breakout. Intraday breakout. And make sure they're low floats. And make sure the float's rotating. And make sure it's a fucking breakout. All right? All right, man. That's it for today. Till next time.